The second,
And here we go.
Don
Don,
is actually at the hypnosis. Am I on?
yes, you are.
Okay. I'm not on my screen. So anyway, Don Hood is actually at the second Tuesday hypnosis holiday meeting next door. But so he asked me to come and talk to you about what Don Hood does and everything. He's been doing hypnosis for a long time. Some of you know Don Hood, and his specialties are past life regression and spirit releasement, and so he does that. He teaches and all that sort of thing. But this being the Christmas season, and me being Santa Claus, of course, I want all of you to know that right now, as of this time, 7:37 by my clock, all of you are on the good list. So don't get naughty between now and Christmas. You've got, some time. So, I mean, mostly. It's all mostly. But Karen asked me at the conference, or asked Don at the conference, if I could come and share just a little bits here and there and see what you guys are about. And it's of course a wonderful bunch of people here. Family. We're all family. And remember, I want to share one quick story about being Santa Claus for so many years. I have had literally hundreds and hundreds of kids across my lap. It's a professional lap. I get the kids focused and I ask them, what is the most important thing about Christmas to you? All of them say family. Every one of them. One happened to say travel. And I said, oh, travel. That's interesting. And she said, yes, to see family. So it all is, I mean, there was maybe a couple here and there that talked about presents, but it really warms your heart and gives you hope that not only just at the Christmas season, but really throughout the year, there is hope that there's some people out there that are really getting the message that it is about family. It's about coming from the heart. It's all about it's all about the love. Love is all we have. Everything else is distractions. I've gotten that on a whole bunch of different high levels coming through. And so keep that in mind when you're here sharing the holidays with each other. You guys are family, so you've got all that love going on, but share it with everybody as you're going through the checkout line. The person's getting a little haggard by scanning all the stuff. Just keep it all in your heart, as you all do. I know that's about it. What I've got to say. I need to go next door. I love you guys. I'd love to. I wish we had two Tuesdays. If we had two second Tuesdays of the month, it would be so much easier. Oh, oh, oh. Maybe I could do that for Christmas. Anyway, I love you guys.
Thank you, Santa, and tell everybody hello for us. We'll see
I
you
will.
here.
I will. Merry Christmas. Ho, 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 ho.
And I would love to introduce our next guest, but she is never allowed to me. Michael always gets to introduce the Queen of Florida. Go ahead, Michael. It's up to you. But you've got to unmute yourself, Michael.
Yeah, I almost forgot how this thing works here. So what, of course, one of the most my favorite people in the world of hypnosis, as a matter of fact, and somebody that, gosh, we've known each other for 30 years or so, I think it is already. Patricia Scott. Generally speaking, I don't want to take people's time with introducing them, and so I'm not going to run a clock over over myself with this. But Patty, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you're here to present with us tonight, and looking forward to what it is that you have to share with us for the holidays.
Thank you, Michael. I hope I can time this right. I have a little bit of a froggy throat, so that'll add another element of texture to what I'm about to say. So froggy throat, that's an interesting concept. So since saw that I was going to be at the beginning of this with all these amazing experiences we're going to have here, on this, what is it, HOLIPALOOZA, I decided to do something very simple. You know, I like to keep things simple if possible. Why not? And with clients, I'm just started teaching another hypnosis certification training, and I do this in trainings too, because I think of a hypnosis training being a really long fractionation hypnosis session, you know, even if it lasts for months, right? So at the beginning of a session, I do this often with clients for many reasons. I call it a focus exercise, but it also introduces what is literally called the learning state. And some people don't know that even in this field. But it gets the client in the beginning, during the beginning of the session, the pre-talk, which I think is the most important, the first pre-talk, to follow your instructions. You can begin that leading and pacing and leading thing. It relaxes their body, which is always nice. It ends up opening up and focusing them, opening up the channel, what I call the channel to the unconscious. It gives you feedback when you ask them what their experience was, and it gets them used to those things. It also creates a bit of fractionation. I like to do little mini trances in the pre-talk so that by the time I do the ritual of the induction, they're really ready to go. They're already halfway there, if not further. And why would you not? So to play along, might as well, as long as we're here, go ahead and this may be like something you've done or heard or experienced or that you do. Look straight ahead first, just at the screen. And without lifting your chin, raise your eyes about 45 degrees and find a point of focus on your wall in front of you or your window or whatever's there. And when I say point, I don't mean an area. I mean like a pinpoint, like the head of a nail or the corner of a window, something very specific point. And just stare at it. And as you begin to take a couple of nice, easy breaths, as Michael does, it almost made me fall off my stool earlier, your body will stay very supported because your unconscious always keeps enough tension in your body to keep you safe, thankfully. So I didn't fall off my stool, thankfully. So look at your spot, and with each breath, imagine your eyes like a laser beam, focusing even stronger, even more intently. Mm-hmm. And as I say words, let your mind interpret them however your mind wants to, because you have a unique, amazing, interesting mind. And just accept whatever you get. Just be here with this. And if you don't get something, accept that. That's fine too. So just have an experience without having to have any reason. That's right. So now take your focus as you stare at that point and begin to spread intentionally your peripheral vision out all the way around to the sides and up and down as far as your peripheral, without taking your focus away from your point. And begin to notice other things in your room or in the place where you are. Now, you may have things that are always there, and you can notice those one by one. You may even notice something you hadn't noticed before, something that's in a little different place than you expected it to be. So just make a mental note of as many things all the way around into the sides as you can see. Now, I don't know if you can see the screen. You might even see some movement down here in your peripheral. So just accept it. Just have the experience. And now take that. I'm going to ask you to do something silly. And, you know, and when we pretend and use our imaginations, we can do silly stuff. That's part of the fun. So imagine you could spread your peripheral vision behind you, as if you could see behind you and have eyes in the back of your head. Now, you probably know what's back there, too. So go ahead and look through the walls of the building you're in. And imagine you can see outside. And play with it and imagine what could be there, what might be there, what you would like to have there. Because it doesn't have to be right or accurate. You're using your amazing, unlimited creative imagination. So play. Give yourself permission to play and have fun. And let yourself imagine whatever you want. Just put some things there. And now bring it back to the regular peripheral with your focus still on your point. And notice if the room seems any different. Just pay attention. Accept what you get without question. Some people say it gets a little foggy or out of focus, cloudy. Other people actually have told me it gets sharper, clearer, more focused. So whatever you get, for others, it's just the same. Now shut down like the shutter of a camera on your point again. Like there's a little ring of light around your point. Just pretend and stare at your point and tell the room to get less and less important. That point right now is the most important thing for you to think about, to look at, to stare at. That's right. Merry Christmas. Was that it? That's funny because I still had 30 seconds left on my timer. Now, when you bring yourself back out here and in the peripheral, that's called the learning state. So have fun learning for the rest of this. That was weird. I thought I had 30 seconds left. I was really watching my timer here.
Michael, you're muted, so we can't hear you. I thought so too, Patricia. I was.
That's okay, because you know what? In hypnosis, unexpected stuff happens, doesn't it? That's part of the fun too.
Happen.
You got to be spontaneous. I love it.
So apparently this app, it's a new app, and apparently you guys can't see the timer. It's only in my window. You can see it if you're in. Apparently you can see it if you're in gallery view in my window.
Right.
I had my own stopwatch I was watching.
But there's
So I
even
don't know
a
what
box.
happened. That's okay.
There's even a box clicked on it that says to.
It was all good for me
show
anyway.
it to everybody. It says show.
As long as I had fun, that's my job. Make sure I have fun.
Well, we had fun too. We're delighted. We always enjoy you. Lots of love. Everybody give her a nice
everybody.
little round of love. Who do we got next?
Can I say my website quickly?
Oh, sure.
Yes.
I'm Patricia Scott, Patty Scott, uphypnosis.com. My institute is Up Hypnosis Institute. Up stands for Unlimited Possibilities. There you go.
Up Hypnosis Institute.
Thank you, Patty. Wonderful.
Thank you so much, Patty.
Next up, we have one of my favorite people in this business. I don't do the same stuff she does, and I am so fascinated by what she does. Astrid Spencer is going to share a little bit of that with us. And I make a promise to you, she's going to be here in the new year at some point, some Tuesday coming up, giving us a full hour of this wisdom. So give us a taste, Astrid, if you will.
Okay. Hello, everybody. So my gift tonight is a short self-hypnosis using the chakras as a guide to enter any holiday gathering in your best state of mind possible. Because as some of us know, gathering with family and extended family is wonderful, but can also be challenging at times, or both wonderful and challenging. So this is a useful tool that you can do before you leave your house, or even if you're parked outside or around the corner before you go in. And it's also good outside of the holidays to just go into any kind of gathering where you could potentially not be with like-minded people, and helps you get through it. Okay, so after going into self-hypnosis, we're going to follow the chakras, following the word holiday. So there's 7 chakras, there's 7 letters in the word holiday. I did put in the chat a little guide sheet that you can download if you wanted to give this to any of your clients or use it yourself. Okay. So first we're going to start with the root chakra, and the letter H is for having boundaries. So first you want to picture yourself within a safe space. I tend to like to do like a wrought iron fence with red lights on it, because it's both a safe space, but you can also communicate through it, see people through it. So it's not like putting up a strong barrier, it's just creating your own safe barrier. And then we're going to move on to your sacral chakra, which is going to be the letter O in holiday. And that's opening your positive emotional state. So you're going to fill that boundary with a good holiday memory. And if you don't have a good holiday memory, then a good life memory. Or even if you can't find a good life memory, a time when you felt peaceful. So you're carrying that peaceful or happy emotion into the gathering with you. And then you're going to move on to your solar plexus, which is the letter L in holiday, living in your own power. So you're going to picture yourself with the satisfaction of your life's achievements, and anybody else's opinions of what you should be doing or where you should be in your life will just kind of melt away before they touch you. Then the heart chakra, it's I, the letter I in holiday, and it's I am unconditional love. Because if you go into any gathering with unconditional love for yourself, it kind of makes you bulletproof. And unconditional love for others makes anything that they do or say feel a little bit less impactful on you, because you're viewing them as just a being surrounded by love, and takes away any sting that you might get. And then the letter D is the throat chakra, and it's basically don't add to the division. So there are always times to speak up, but angry, divisive expressions are not going to make anything better. So you can view yourself listening with compassion and speaking with kind honesty, and that will help. So A is your third eye, and that is for all I see is the truth. And so you're going to know that entering that gathering, your strong ability to decipher what is true will guide you and give you peace despite what others may do or say, because you can see the truth behind their actions, and you can see the truth of yourself and what's true to you. And then finally, Y in holiday would be the crown chakra. And this stands for you and I are the same. We're just learning different lessons in different ways at different paces. Because if you're full of that understanding that you're on two separate paths, then you would not want that person judging you, and then you do not judge that person as well. So that's it. Thank you.
That was lovely, Astrid. Thank you very much.
Very, very nice. And your timing was impeccable, young lady. Thank you so very much for that. Great, great. Good stuff. How exciting it is. So next on our agenda, we are going to hear from a pretty regular fella at the virtual chapter, somebody that we've all come to love and appreciate, and that is William Moyer. Hi, William.
Well, hi, and thank you. And Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwezi Kwanzaa, or maybe I should just say, have a wonderful, and let you fill in the blank with whatever resonates with you. And this kind of occurred to me today as I was driving around in the crazy San Antonio holiday traffic. And I was witnessing many of those festive single finger greetings throughout the traffic. And it made me start to wonder about those individuals that maybe they go to church on a Sunday morning and they sing about peace on earth, goodwill to men and women, my addition. And assuming that they are sincere in that moment, what happens on Monday morning? And that, of course, led me to think about the power that we wield with our knowledge and our education and our skills in our profession that we use to help people have a better life experience. And that led me to another thought of, why do we tend to restrict that ability to our offices and our classrooms? What if we were to expand that skill, that knowledge, into our environment on a day-to-day basis? Which led me to come up with a challenge. And that is this. So if you would, for just a moment, get yourself comfortable, let your eyes gently close, take a few deep breaths, and get into that state of mind in whatever way you do. And I want to propose a challenge to all of us, that we utilize our skills, our talents, our abilities. We expand our focus beyond the office space, beyond our classrooms, out into our daily environment with everyone with whom we come in contact. And using those skills in an overt or covert way, what kind of influence we might have in helping those in our world have a better life experience in this fleeting moment that we call life. that Wayne Dyer referred to as a parenthesis in eternity. And using what my friend Karen Hand refers to as BS, our belief system, maybe we can start by walking the talk, live the things that we preach, behave in ways that are encouraging, supportive, kinder. And maybe with that influence and with putting our skills to use in our daily interactions, we can create a better experience in our little corner of the universe.
Hmm.
And with that challenge in mind, I would invite you to take one more slow, deep, cleansing, healing breath. And when you're ready, let your eyes gently open with an intention of expanding this 'tis the season idea to extend throughout our years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, William. How can we get in touch with you? I forgot to ask Astrid. She put it in the chat room, by the way. So thank you so much for doing that. But if people would like to contact you, how might they do that?
lifemattershypnosis@gmail.com.
Life Matters Hypnosis.
And I will put that
Gmail.
in the chat.
Please do.
Thank you, William. That was lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We like all flavors at the chapter, and we definitely believe here that there are all sorts of styles that work, all sorts of ways you can hypnotize somebody, and all sorts of belief systems. So we really want to deal with all of them. Debbie Yaffe is here to share some amazing stuff with us about her BS.
Well, happy season of light to everybody, and nice to be here and see you all. So the theme of my gift this evening is the glory of the Hanukkah lights. And I recently learned something really fascinating about the Hanukkah lights. They are actually only kindled for the sole purpose of noticing the light. We often associate them with that miracle of the one cruse of oil that lasted 8 days, but actually the sole purpose for kindling the Hanukkah lights is to notice the light. They are not for lighting our way in the dark. They're not for reading by. They're just for reflecting on what it means to bring light into our world and how we can be a part of that process. And there are 8 lights on the menorah, but there's a 9th light. It's called the shamash, and its job is to light the others. And I'm not sure if you could see. I tried to future pace you to the 8th day of Hanukkah, and I'm not sure if my menorah is showing up clearly, but that glow back there is the menorah, and there's a little top one that's the shamash. That's the taller one. So, but if you would, I'd ask you to sit back because I'd like to tell you a story. So once upon a Hanukkah, a young man asked his rabbi, "Rabbi, what is a Jew's task in this world?" And the rabbi answered, "A Jew is a lamplighter on the streets of the world." In olden days, there was a person in every town who would light the gas street lamps. The lamplighter has a long pole with a flame supplied by the town. He knows that the fire is not his own, and he goes around lighting the lamps on his route. "But what if the lamp's in a desolate wilderness?" the young man asked. And the rabbi said, "Well, then too, one must light it. Let it be noted that there is a wilderness, and let the wilderness be tamed by the light." Not satisfied with this, the man asked, "Well, what if the lamp is in the middle of the sea?" And the rabbi responded, "Then one must, of course, take off one's clothes, jump in the water, and light it there." "And that's the Jew's mission?" asked the man. The rabbi thought for a long moment. Finally, he responded, "Yes, that is a Jew's calling." And the young man said, "But Rabbi, I see no lamps." And the rabbi responded, "That is because you are not yet a lamplighter." Really curious now, the young man inquired, how does one become a lamplighter? And the rabbi answers, one must begin with oneself, cleansing oneself, becoming more refined. Then one is able to see the other as a source of light waiting to be ignited. When one is crude, one sees only crudeness in the world. But when one is noble, one sees nobility. And another wise man, I would call him a Buddhist rabbi named Tulku Tundrup, put it this way: if we train our mind to become peaceful and loving, then whatever we say and we do will be peaceful and loving and will inspire peace and joy in those around us. And so it was that the young man decided to make it his mission to become a lamplighter. The word Hanukkah means rededication. As Hanukkah and Christmas begin on the same day this year, let us rededicate ourselves to finding our own light within, to being the lamplighter hypnotists who help others find their light and make peace in this world. And so, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to be the shamash, because there are lamps waiting to be lit. And I did have a little picture, if I still have time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Whoop. All right. So on the left, I have, this is Yod He Vav He. It's the divine name, which is each one of us in the form of a man. That's you as the shamash. And as many lights all over the world, you can light all those menorahs, lighting the light within everybody. And that's what I have.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Look at those. Mexico, peace, Iceland, I like.
Yes.
Thank you, Deborah.
You, Deborah. We really appreciate that. All right. So now, as we continue on the road to the, Santa Claus gets around the whole world, and just in the length of one spin. So we're doing really well, and you guys are all doing a nice job. Thank you. So who do we have next? Oh, Connie Joe Holmes. Connie Joe, Karen, can you introduce Connie Joe? I don't know her well enough
I
to do
can
justice.
introduce this goddess, no problem. She's just north of me, up in Wisconsin. She's brilliant. Her business is called Be You to Be Full. Beautiful. Is it
Oh,
not? Authenticity, my baby. And Connie Joe brings it every time. It's up to you to inspire us now, Connie Joe. Take it away.
Thank you very much. So I am talking to you about something. I'm just on the heels of returning home from a 5-day Vipanasa, 5-day silent meditation retreat. And I learned a lot. It's rooted in Buddhism. And so a couple things I wanted to share with you. And a lot of these things you guys are going to know, but for me, it was a beautiful reminder. And to remind us that every single thing in the world starts with our intention. Every single thing does. But we don't always remember that. And so, and when we really slow down, we can connect ourselves with that mind-body connection to everything. And so what I wanted to do, who here has something to drink in front of you? So let me just say, those who have something to drink in front of you, just go ahead and grab it and just take a swig like you normally would any old day. Thank you. And so now I invite you, keep your hand on whatever it is you have and go ahead and close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, set the intention that your arm is going to bring that glass or mug or whatever up to your lips. And so you're setting the intention and then you're doing the act. So you're going to be slow with this. So set the intention that your arm is going to raise whatever it is up to your mouth. take a swig of whatever it is, but hold it in your mouth for a moment and just hold whatever that fluid is in your mouth. And then when you're ready, just very slowly swallow that. And when you're doing that, you might start to feel that going down your throat and just hitting all the spots it needs to. And go ahead and just open your eyes when you're done with that. But when you can do this with food, it is amazing to do it with food. We had grapes with almost every meal. So the next time you have grapes, put it in your mouth and just, you can feel that moment when you do it slowly where the skin separates from the middle of the grape. And it's amazing when we slow down how we can notice things. And that's the true example of being mindful at all times. But knowing that the holidays are coming up, I want to just invite you to go ahead and close your eyes again. And just whatever you do for the holidays, it's different for everybody. But just right now, in your beautiful, creative, wise, subconscious minds, see yourself going into the holidays. You know, whether it's entering whoever's home, whether it's people entering your home, and just go about some parts of that day and just notice what you notice. But now I invite you to set your intention for what it is you want your holidays coming up to be for you and those around you. And set the intention for, you know what, if mom's still alive, if grandma's still alive, if, long lost cousins coming in from out of town or something like that, set the intention and see yourself before you go up and hug and embrace that person. Set the intention for doing it, and then do the act. And maybe in doing this in your mind right now, you're feeling that huge difference. And so I encourage you going into the holidays to reflect on that and to allow your intention to lead the way with everything. Because when we do, we live a world of peace. And I want to read something to you I wrote. Wishing you a day of peace, peace from the noise all around you, because you have realized that not everything needs your attention or reaction. Peace from chasing success, because you have realized that the definition of success is different for everyone. Peace from keeping up with others, because you've realized life is not a race, but a journey, and there are many different paths to take on a journey. Peace from perfection, because you realize that there is no such thing, and you dissolve peace in the effort to reach perfection. Peace from needing or wanting to fit in, because you've realized that being loved for who you are brings you in an undescribable form of peace. Peace for having to be liked by everyone, because you realize many people have a hard time liking themselves, let alone another. Peace from running and doing too much, because you realize stillness is production for the mind. I was almost done.
Please go ahead.
No, it's all good. I hope people in that little bit of exercise could feel the difference of intention and slowing down a roll.
I'm going to watch the
Slow
clock.
down the timer, I'm thinking.
Well, I'm going to, at least I'm going to stop it from making those noises, because I know you all are monitoring yourself since you can't see the timer on the screen anyway, and we'll be fine. Oh, well, thank you, Connie, for that. That's lovely stuff. The word of the season is peace, right? Peace, peace, peace. So thank you for adding that into the dialogue here.
Let me just add very quickly, if you don't mind, Michael. Connie Jo does something that many of us do, and she does it every night on Facebook. As just before she goes to bed, she lists the 5 things, until there's a random 6 things once in a while. She lists the 5 things that she is grateful for every day. And boy, what a great way to set a mindset, right? When you're thinking about the things that you're grateful for and what is going right in your life, you always get what you go looking for. So you set the intention to get what you go looking for. That's what we were just talking about. What a great way to set an intention. Thank you, Connie Jo, very much.
Nice. Well, I'm looking forward to the next presenter as well. Another friend of mine from here. By the way, Connie, if you would be kind enough to put your contact information in the chat room, so that people can be in touch with you, that would be helpful. And the next person is a friend of mine, and here in Orlando, Florida. Oh my God, the luminance! There is so much happening in Orlando. So anyway, she is a good friend of mine, and I'll tell you what, this is how good of a friend of mine she is. I had to move not too long ago. I had to move out of my office, my business location, and this is one of the people that actually showed up and helped. And you know somebody is a friend if they help you move. So without further ado, Gloria Danvers, say hello, Gloria.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
We can.
Good. All right. It's nice to be here and see everybody. There were a lot of things that I wanted to talk about tonight, but I think that what I would like to do is tell a story about how hypnosis came into my life. And it's different for everyone. So if anyone can remember 1965, that was the year that my mother was working in a local hospital. And she was working with a doctor who was a hypnotist. And my mother had a terrible fear of dentists. So she was talking to the doctor one day and just really saying, I don't know if I can do this. I'm so anxious. I'm so upset. And he looked at her and said, I can help you. Do you trust me? Will you trust me? And she said yes. And so he proceeded to put her in a trance with what I now know was an Elman induction, with the fractionation and the arm drop. So she went and had her dental procedure with very little pain and no anxiety, and came home and told us all about it at the dinner table that night. And I was 10 years old, and I thought, I was incredulous because my mother really was such a scaredy cat. And this was something that happened in a single afternoon that empowered her to the point where she was perfectly happy to go to the dentist or the doctor or anybody else. In the years to come, my mother became an advocate for hypnosis, and she had it for everything. She had it for weight loss. She had it for pain management. She had it for anxiety. My mother was in the medical profession most of her life, but yet her go-to was when someone said, oh, I've got this problem or that problem, the first thing she would say is, have you tried hypnosis? And it was just a startling thing because being in the medical profession, you wouldn't think at that time in the 60s and 70s that anyone would give it the kind of gravitas that my mom did. So fast forward to when I became a hypnotherapist, and she was so excited. That was the ultimate for her. I had done a lot of things. I've been an artist, a lot of other things, but being a hypnotherapist for my mom was the pinnacle of my success. So she was living me, and she was, in her 80s, getting older, not feeling well. And so I would hypnotize her frequently, to go to the doctor or, when she had anxiety or any one of a number of things that happen when people are older. And the one thing I had never done with her is a past life regression. So she was 85 years old, not feeling well, and we did a past life regression. When she was in through the regression, I asked her, look down at your feet and tell me what you see. And she said, I'm wearing moccasins. And I said, look around you. What is around you? And she said, I'm standing on a cliff. And in front of me is this beautiful green valley. And it's so vibrant. And it just goes as far as the eye can see. And I said, are you alone? And she said, there's no people here, but I'm with my horse. I said, can you describe yourself? She said, I have long black hair and I seem to be wearing some kind of skins. And she paused for a second and said, and I'm so young. I'm so young and I'm so strong. And I have my horse and I feel so peaceful. And so we just let that be for a few moments, just letting her be there in this beautiful place, young and vibrant, with her horse. And then as we wrapped it up and I brought her out of the trance, she kind of had tears in her eyes, and she said, honey, I don't mind being old and frail, but I really miss my horse. So I said to her, Mama, I would bet that when you are ready to pass on, that your horse will be there to ride you over to the other side. And about 2 months after that, she did pass away. And the thing that comforted me the most was thinking of my beautiful mother, strong and free, riding off on her horse into the afterlife. And this is what hypnosis brought her. It brought her health, it brought her peace, it brought her everything. And she passed all of that down to me. So that's how hypnosis came into my life.
Now that's a Christmas story.
Yeah.
What a lovely story. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Sure.
Lovely story.
And Gloria, as I have asked the others as well, if in case anybody wants to get in touch with you, if you want to go ahead and get them your contact in the chat, that would be a handy thing.
I will. If anybody wants to go find their horse, look me up.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. All right.
So coming up next, a good friend of ours and such a gentle soul, Joseph Onesta. Please share some wisdom with us, won't you, please?
Well, I love all these stories, and they're so positive. And I've been thinking about the people who have, they get sad at the holidays. And one of the things that has come up in my practice a lot over the last year or so is that life never seems to go according to plan. When we're thinking about our lives and we're thinking about what we'd like later on in life, never quite works out that way. And one of the things that I like to point out to my clients is that we're always doing the best that we can. I used to have a roommate when I was in college who, when you said something like, "Oh, thank you, Brian, for doing this thing for me," he would say, "Well, it was the least I could do, and everyone knows I always do the least I could do." And he was being funny, but he was also accepting the compliment and the gratitude in his way. And so I look at my clients, I look at myself even, and I look back at moments where I might feel regret. I might think that I made a wrong turn in life. And I think we all have those moments. If you don't, you're very lucky. And that's wonderful. But I just want to point out to you that if you have one of those moments and you think about them in those terms, like it would have been different if I had done X or Y, or if I hadn't done X or Y, I want you to know that beyond a shadow of a doubt, at the time you made that decision, if you go back and look at it, it was the best thing you could do at the time, or at least the best thing that you thought you could do at the time. Maybe you didn't see all the alternatives. Hindsight is a bully. Hindsight, we say, "Oh, hindsight is 20/20." No, it isn't. It's a bully. And when we look back at life with regret, when in my days when I was a minister, I would teach that regret, I call it vain regrets. That's the pride that goes before the fall in Judaism and Christianity. It's that vain regret, thinking you should be more or should have been more than you were. And I'm going to share with you, if you've ever walked a labyrinth, one of those meditation labyrinths, you can't go wrong. It does do some crazy turns, and you end up in places where you don't expect. But that labyrinth you cannot go wrong. And so you walk through, you go through, you think you're doing your meditation, and then you come back and you reverse it. Here's the thing. Like we never experience that's like a top-down experience. It's like a bird's eye view of your life. I think you should know that. But the bottom up, when we're experiencing life, it's more like one of those mazes that you see in puzzle books where you start, it says start here and you're there with your pencil and you're going through this maze and you've realized you've made a wrong turn in air quotes. And then you go back and you go and find your way. I want you to know that that wrong turn is actually perhaps just part of the plan. It's actually part of the path. Maybe there was a treasure that you got there from going along that path. You might look back and say, oh, that was a mistake, but it wasn't. It was what you needed at the time. And there is, through that maze, only one path through. And if you stick through it, you'll get out the other side and you will have completed the journey. I believe in life as a series of lessons. And so I'm learning everything. I'm not discounting any of these lessons, even some of the boring ones. So I don't know. I haven't looked at my time, but I hope it helped you. And I hope you have a wonderful holiday and just dump the vain regrets.
Thank you, Joseph, so much.
Yeah.
What beautiful, beautiful words there. We appreciate it a lot. Lots of different pieces of advice, right? Lots of different pieces of information. One of the things I think is so wonderful about our community is since we do things so differently, and all the things we do produce success, sharing these things, we can always pick up little tidbits. A little tidbit here, a little tidbit there. Oh, that's something I can use. Oh, that's something I like. Connie Jo was talking about setting intentions. Krissa Marie Bowman was scheduled to be our next guest, and I got a message from Krissa today that she had a family emergency and couldn't be here tonight. Now, one of the things I want to say about Krissa is she runs Quantum Journeys hypnosis. She believes in going way beyond what we're thinking in the box, right? And Krissa does twice weekly healings, where she has people come together and they send out healings to the world. You know what I thought would be a really nice payback in her time, just a little piece of her time, was for us, our family, of which she is a part, to send some healing attentions to her. What do you think? Would you mind doing that for just a moment? Let's just take a moment. You can open your mics and say something if you want to, but I would love for us to just send some good vibes, some healing energy to Krissa Marie Bowman. And thank you for all the wonderful things that you've done for us too, Krissa. She's in that quantum world, so I'm sure that she feels it. You know what I say? It's all BS. It's all what we believe. And if you believe it to be true, we can believe that healing all the way to her. Thank you guys for that very much. I appreciate that. So it might be time to shed some light on things. Would you agree? We've got a peppy presenter coming up. She'll get us up and going and lively. Randy Light, one of my dear friends and a wonderful goddess.
Hi, everyone. Well, we could have just waited and sent that to her during my thing. As most of you know, I'm into love and light. And I just have to say to everyone, including especially Deborah, that my Jewish father, whose last name is Light, died during the Festival of Light like 20 years ago. And that was so fascinating to actually die during the Festival of the Lights with his last name Light. So I'm going to take you through a couple of processes to help you to love and to light and to do that for you and others. And I'll share some things with you while we're there. So we're also going to do which GCP ground clear let me try that again. Ground clear protect, GCP. So if you would, go ahead and close your eyes and take a deep breath in and hold your breath in for as long as you comfortably can. Look up with those eyeballs, connecting with your higher self and intuition. Lower your eyeballs, and as you breathe out, give yourself that suggestion to relax and feel yourself relax, or imagine yourself relaxing as you breathe out. And let's do that again. Take a deep breath in, hold your breath in for as long as you comfortably can. With those eyeballs, look up, connect with that higher self, that intuition, that third eye. Lower your eyeballs, and in a moment when you choose to breathe out, picture a healing sound wave, a relaxing sound wave flowing through you from the top of your head through your body to the tips of your toes. And you can resume normal breathing now, but go ahead and imagine out of the base of your feet, the bottoms of your feet, are grounding cords. They can be made of light or steel or tree roots or anything you want. And out of the base of your spine, that chakra, that red root chakra, also imagine another cord. And they're going down to the center of the earth. I love to imagine them as light. You can imagine them however you want. But imagine you're breathing love and light up from the earth through your cords into you. And when you breathe out, imagine you're breathing out what no longer serves you, when it goes out your body and down your grounding cords. And then go ahead and do that again. Breathe in love and light, and breathe out what doesn't belong to you. Picture, hear, and feel it going down through your body, down through your grounding cords, down to the center of the earth. Breathing in love and light, and breathing out what no longer serves you. Breathing in love and light, and breathing out what doesn't belong to you, and imagining this beautiful bubble, this shield around you, this protection. And imagine this bubble, this shield getting bigger and smaller, like you can expand it and contract it. Expand it and contract it, and recognize it's a very powerful shield. And then focus your breathing on your heart. Just focus your breathing on your heart and imagine or pretend you're breathing in and out through your heart. You can invite your heart to open. Feel it opening, imagine it opening, because when you focus your breathing on your heart, you activate your heart's intelligence. And the average person, when they're meditating on their heart, emits 20 photons of light per second. But when you focus on the heart with a loving and healing intent, those electromagnetic packets, those photons, expand to 100,000 per second, 100,000 photons per second of light. So imagine you're breathing in and out of that light, breathing in and out that light out of your heart now. You're breathing in and out, and send it perhaps to Krissa or to yourself or to some person who you believe needs all that love, all that light, all that wonderful feeling. And also, I am going to start to sing a affirmation for you, and then the words will be up. So anytime you want to start singing them, you can open your eyes and sing them with us. I'm loved, I'm free. I don't need to be like them. I just need to be like me. I'm beautiful. I'm safe. I'm loved. I'm free. I don't need to be like them. I just need to be like me. I'm beautiful. I'm safe. I'm loved. I'm free. I don't need to be like them. I just need to be like me. I'm beautiful. I'm safe. I'm loved. I'm free. I don't need to be like them. I just need to be like me. I'm beautiful. Safe. I'm loved. I'm free. I don't need to be like them. I just need to be like me. And I think that's it. And I was trying to get you to see it. You can open your eyes and come on back. I have no idea what I just did. I have 4 seconds left.
Lovely. Thank you
Great job.
very much.
Great job. I'm beautiful. I'm free. I love that. It'll be a mantra that we can use for the rest of the night,
Yeah.
the rest of the week, for the rest of the season. Thank you,
You
Randy.
can remember I'm beautiful, I am safe, right? Remember, start with beautiful, but BS. I am beautiful, I am safe, I'm
Ah,
loved, I'm free.
That brought it home. Thank you. That anchored it right to something that we can use.
I don't need to be
Appreciate
like them. I just need them to be like me.
Or, clients do all their own work in their own head. So he switched that around to something that makes sense to him.
Thank you so much. Gosh, that really was a lovely thing. I am inspired, or touched, I guess, by each and every one so far. And what I'm finding myself doing as I'm listening to this tonight is not at all what I expected, and a little bit different than the times that we've done this in the past. I have found myself reflecting on particular people and individuals that have inspired me. One in particular, a priest that I knew a million years ago that was just truly a saintly human being, and Gloria's story about doing hypnosis with her mother, et cetera, et cetera, all these things, and William started out with walk your talk and take it out into the world. And it reminded me, and I hope you don't mind me just stealing a moment here, but it reminded me of something else. And it's funny, these things can be so poignant and meaningful on the one hand, and at the same time, they spark a little bit of um, a little bit of delight in me, in the sense that I'm thinking, um, I'm remembering a hypnosis manual, and I think it came out of something that somebody was talking here. It was written in the Victorian age, so it was somewhere in the like 18, maybe 60s or so. And one of the things that they cautioned hypnotists to do is to not sit directly in front of your clients. Because when you do, the suggestions that you give them might bounce off and get back at you. What a lovely thing. We have the opportunity to not only offer meaningful meaningful experiences for our clients, but to enter into them and to soak up all that good stuff as well. It's just what a wonderful thing. How lucky we are. Oh, well. Anyway, I digress. Thank you, Randy, so much. And Randy, will you also make a visit to the chat room and put your contact information?
She did, yes.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, then I wonder, I wonder who's going to be next. If somebody would give, I'm looking at this and I need a little help with it. If somebody would just give me a hand, maybe maybe that would help me figure it out. But sure
I would
enough,
be delighted to, my dear Watson.
and for so many years, by the way, I've got to say, this lady has kept this chapter going with me, and and I've had a particularly crazy year this last year, and Karen has just been there. So bless you, my friend, and please, Karen Hand, take it away.
Thank you very much. It's a labor of love. And I love what we bring to this community because it's just something different every month at this meeting. It's not necessarily our philosophy or whatever we do only. It's what do you have? What do you have to offer? And what we want to have happen in this meeting is for people to come and say, wow, there's an idea I hadn't thought of before. There's something I could use, and then adapt it to your own style, because isn't that really what we do? This is a business that is just like Outback. It's the Outback business. No rules, just right. So I was at the Mid-America Hypnosis Conference this year, and I attended something. Randy attended it with me. We fell in love with this guy from the Netherlands who is doing something in the schools in the Netherlands, helping children calm down. And they've actually adopted many of these meditation practices. They teach it to the teachers, and the teachers teach it to the kids. They're teaching their kids in the Netherlands in elementary school to think, to use critical thinking skills. And it's pretty amazing. And to understand emotions and things like that. So one of the little techniques that he shared with us is what I'm going to share with you here. They're using it to help kids, especially kids, obsessive compulsive kids, calm down and have something different to consider than their obsessive thoughts. So this is what they teach their kids, and this is what I would like to do with you. I'd love for you to do this with me. So just go ahead and just for a moment, close your eyes. Close your eyes and take a nice deep breath. Use your imagination and imagine you're a frog. You're a frog. Go ahead now and really imagine it. Sit like a frog. You know how your legs will be kind of up and you kind of curled in maybe a little kind of a ball, kind of curled up there. And imagine that you're there at the pond, out in nature. You're on a lily pad, just having a grand old time because you're the frog, sitting just like a frog, being the frog. Did you know? Here's something really interesting about frogs. A frog won't move unless it absolutely has to. Did you know a frog won't move unless it absolutely has to? That's right, it just sits there on its lily pad, calm and relaxed, not moving unless it absolutely has to. You know, if there's a little itch on one of its legs, it will just move that one leg to get the itch and everything else stays calm. If it hears something off in the distance and wants to find out what it is, one eyeball might look over and trace the movement. That frog won't move unless it absolutely has to. There can be lots and lots and lots of commotion going on there around the pond, the insects flying by and the noises and fish jumping in and out of the water. And the frog knows all of that, all of the sounds going on and all of the commotion and all of the activity. And the frog sits there calmly, enjoying being on the lily pad because you know a frog won't move unless it absolutely has to. And if a frog gets hungry and it has to eat, of course, when it hears the fly go by, it just moves its tongue to zap it and bring it right back in. And the frog doesn't have to move at all except just that tongue. Because a frog won't move unless it absolutely has to. But the other interesting thing about frogs is when they absolutely have to move, they can move great distances in one leap. They can jump right to it instantly because they can come instantly to attention and move perfectly when they absolutely have to. Isn't it interesting being a frog? And you know, anytime there's commotion around you or stress or strain, all you have to do now is just take a nice deep breath and be the frog. And you can stay as calm as you want to deep down inside because it feels so good. Now, when you're good and ready, come on back and join me as a human. And you can go back to being that frog anytime you need it in this holiday season or any other time you want. Now, how cool is that? Isn't that fun? I want you to know that I haven't worked with any kids since I attended that session, but I did work with an emergency room nurse who was always just feeling kind of uneasy inside because she had so much stuff going on. So I just thought, well, I wonder what it would be like to be the frog. And there was I heavied up on all of the commotion going on, and you can stay calm inside. And you know, if you have different clients with different things, you put their stuff into that metaphor and it works for a wide variety of stuff. I like being the frog. I even wore green for you tonight so I could really be the frog. Go be a frog for Christmas. That's my gift to you. Thank you very much.
Lovely. Lovely. How lovely, how public, like a frog, to sing your tune the livelong June to an admiring bog. This is poetry, by the way. You've helped me find the muse. Thank you so much.
And I have the voice to match.
That's right. That's right. This evening you do. Just this evening. Yeah. Yeah. Was Topo Gigio a frog, by the way? Is that? No, he's a mouse, wasn't he?
Mouse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a
mouse.
A mouse.
yeah, yeah. Oh well. Well, So lovely. So I guess we've heard from our speakers this evening.
Well, we have not heard from all of our speakers this
We
evening.
haven't heard from all of our speakers because yeah. So I'd like to talk to you
I
about
was going to
something.
say, our fearless leader, I'm very grateful to this man. He's been here in my life for such a long time, and I love him. He's my hypno hubby. And I love that about him. Michael Watson, our fearless leader, thank you so much for doing all that you do.
Right back at you, my sister. So, uh, when I was in when I was in school, when I was in college, I was an English major. We're talking about poetry and literature and such. And and one of the things that I really enjoyed, if it was well done, was literary criticism, where somebody could take a novel and sort of really unpack some of the images and the mystery that was, behind that like the unfolding of a metaphor that so many of us do in hypnosis. And I really enjoyed that stuff. And I'm thinking that something like a Christmas Carol, as I considered what we might do, and we could talk about the deeper meaning. Good thing for hypnotists to do, by the way, the deeper meaning of a Christmas Carol. Last year, some of you, if you were here, will remember that what I did was I read A Visit from St. Nicholas, or more commonly known as The Night Before Christmas, as well. And we could talk about the deeper meaning of that, of course. But I went on after school and being so inspired by lovely literature and great unpacking and unfolding of those things. And I went on to seminary, and the next thing I know, they were teaching me how to do this with Bible passages and stories from the New Testament and the Old Testament and the lives of the saints, etc., etc. And so I thought, because it is, after all, Christmas time, that it would be appropriate to do something similar. And so I want to tell you about what to do when the sky is falling. Because one day, Chicken Little, some of you know about Chicken Little, right? Was walking down the street, and an acorn fell and hit her on the head. Oh my word, she said, what's happening? Oh my goodness, the sky is falling. And she was very concerned about the fact that the sky was falling and said, I must go and tell the king about this. And so she took off to tell the king about this. She's going down the road and she's very concerned. The sky is falling, and really getting worked up about it. Some of you know how to do that, right? You all have that capacity. So the sky is falling, and she comes across her friend Henny Penny, and she says, Henny Penny, the sky is falling. And Henny Penny didn't really know Chicken Little to be a liar. She says, how do you know about this? And she says, because a piece of it hit me on the head and hurt me. And Henny Penny said, well, we must go to the king and tell him about this. And then they wandered further down the road, and they came across, guess who? Ducky Lucky. They said, Ducky Lucky, the sky is falling. And Ducky Lucky says, well, oh my goodness, how do you know? And Chicken Little said, well, a piece of it hit me on the head. And Ducky Lucky thought, well, gosh, if two people are really convinced that this is the case, it must be true. So, oh my goodness, it's important. The sky is falling, and we must tell the king about it. They go further down the road, and they run into Goosey Lucy. Goosey Lucy, the sky is falling, they say. And Goosey Lucy says, really? How do you know? And she says, well, it fell and it hit me on the head. And looking at her friends, four of her friends, all concerned and alarmed about the fact that the sky is falling. Surely this must be true. And so we've got to get off, and we've got to tell the king about it quickly. So they continue further down the road, and they come across Foxy Loxy. Foxy Loxy, Foxy Loxy, the sky is falling. And Foxy Loxy says, really? Are you sure? And they say, well, yes, a piece of it fell and hit me on the head. And Foxy Lucky says, well, certainly then the sky must be falling, and you certainly aren't going to be safe out here. So why don't you go and stay in my den while I go and tell the king about it? And now there's several endings to the story, by the way. Some of them end up with all of the birds getting eaten, and and there are a number of variations. But there's some interesting stuff in this. Have you ever had the experience yourself that the sky was falling? What I've noticed actually the sky has been falling for a whole lot of people for the last 8 years or however long it's been, as we have gotten farther and farther apart from one another. And here it is now, holiday time, and time to mend those fences, time to, as I said earlier, maybe sit back and take a nice deep breath. So many of us have said that already earlier, and wait to see what's going to happen, because I have a secret for you. The sky is not falling. The sky is not falling. Yet we have that experience. And it's based on what? On some conclusions that we've drawn very quickly based on a limited amount of information. So, what happened with Chicken Little? It was simply an acorn, one momentary experience. And what happened next with Chicken Little? The inside of Chicken Little's little chicken brain, started saying, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, and getting support for the idea from everybody that she could contact, everybody that she could get with, so that she could have a chorus of people to say with her, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. And the circle got bigger and bigger, and the bigger it got, the more convincing it was, the more alarming it was. And don't we all have experiences where we do this? The great algorithm of consciousness, is kind of interesting. More and more, it is just so weird. I don't know if it happens to you this way, but more and more, I'm having a conversation with something, and then I notice that the next commercial on a television program I'm looking for, or ad that pops up on the internet, or something, is going to be, or even a news story, or a story, or a feature story, somehow or another seems to be responding to what it is that I'm putting out there. We seek reinforcement, we get support, and we go right down the other story that I could have told you that would have been similar has something to do with falling down a rabbit hole and going farther and farther, and farther. So I've shared with you guys a bunch of times, a friend of mine, Jamie Smart, and the day that he changed my life by simply reminding me when I was catastrophizing. That's a hard word to say, actually. Catastrophizing, that the sky wasn't falling. In fact, what he said to me was, Michael, you're just experiencing the effects of your thinking. So many of the dragons that live at the end of the world, or the edge of the world, are placed there by our imagination, and are the monster under the bed, or in the closet, or wherever you had yours when you were a child. And the more we think about it, the more that we fear it, the more that we create it. Thank goodness for self-confidence workshops. Thank goodness for this idea of, wait a minute, maybe there is something within us that we could be doing differently, rather than the sky is falling. So as I thought about this, I thought there's got to be, what are you going to do when the sky starts to fall? And here's what you're going to do. First of all, you need to pause and you need to assess the situation. And it means you got to catch yourself in the act. You've got to be willing to consider, just for a moment, the next time it gets really crazy in there, that maybe I'm contributing something to this, and to stop and take a breath and ask yourself, what evidence do I have? Because remember, Chicken Little, right? It was just one little thing. Ask yourself, what might I be missing, as I consider this situation? And is it truly as catastrophic as it seems? Okay. Step one. And step two, then seek reliable counsel. I have a feeling that what are the names again? Henny Penny and Ducky Lucky and Goosey Lucy weren't necessarily experts in the status of the solidness of the sky. But they were friends, and they were friends who would support, whatever position it was that Chicken Little brought to them with enthusiasm and concern and alarm. So seek reliable counsel. Chicken Little gathered her friends. She didn't think about who might be the best person to consult. She created an echo chamber of fear and panic. The fox, of course, saw an opportunity and led them astray. In your own lives, when crisis strikes, it's essential to seek out reliable, thoughtful advisors, to surround yourself with people who can provide perspective and wisdom, and if necessary, give you a reality check. These are the individuals that will help you weigh the risks and identify the best course of action. And then the third part is to focus on solutions, not just problems. The relevant question is, what's the first step that I can take to address this? Who can I enlist to help me in this process? You don't want me to drop my notes because I won't. Oh gosh. And how can I turn this obstacle into an opportunity? And this is one of the most wonderful things. We were hearing from Joseph a minute ago about how, the path that you're on is the path that you're supposed to be on. So here's the thing that's happening. It's kind of interesting that we often sort of think something different should be going on. I don't know what should be going on, but what I do know is that what's going on is what's going on. And so if there's somewhere you need to figure out how to get there from here. So the question is, how do we start from right here? You all know about the difference. I'm sure you know this. It's an old metaphor that they used to use in seminars and stuff about the difference between mice and people, or rats and people rather, is you put a rat in a maze and you put cheese in the maze, and the rat runs around and it finds the cheese. And then the next day you put the rat in the maze and it runs around and it finds the cheese. And the next day you put the cheese somewhere else in the maze. You put the rat in, and then the rat runs to where the cheese used to be, discovers that it isn't there, and then continues to look around, search around in the maze until it finds the cheese. It's an interesting thing. If instead we want to sit there and go, the cheese is supposed to be here, God damn it, well, you're going to end up going to bed hungry. So it's kind of interesting is that I took this information and I discovered how easily these things can be turned into something like a simple NLP technique that has basic steps. And we are inspired by Chicken Little to pause and address the situation, identify the facts, identify the emotions that are associated with it, to seek reliable counsel, and to focus on solutions. Because if the solutions are the things that fill your head, then they're the experience. See, by the way, if you want to run something like the sky is falling, I think it would be a whole lot nicer to run something like I am peaceful, I am safe, some certainly better places to start from. And you can experience the effects of your thinking, but they can be a whole lot better when you know how to do it on purpose. So there we are. Chicken Little. Thank you.
And thank you very much.
Yeah.
And we come toward the end of our holiday buffet for 2024. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I would like to, we have a couple of minutes. If anybody would like to offer their Christmas wish, if you've got a Christmas wish or a Christmas intention or an intention for the new year, remember now's the time to start setting your intentions. Yes, Gloria.
My intention is that I will stay centered no matter what whirls around me.
Love that.
The
Anybody
world
else?
can spin, but I will be in the eye of the hurricane.
She's going to be the frog.
Yes, ma'am.
The pond is spinning. Karen, Ross.
Yes, I'd just like to share a short visualization for those of it.
It would have to be less than a minute.
I think it will be.
Okay.
Just suppose that you were given the Christ child to hold. This is for people who do acknowledge Christmas as the birth of Christ. So I'm serious. Just kind of close your eyes for a second and pretend for a moment that Mary has taken Jesus from her breast, has turned to you and said, "Here, hold this child for a moment, will you?" Wouldn't that just undo you to hold in your arms all of that love? I can't think of anything that would undo me more. And that, I suspect, is precisely what Christmas's plan is for us each to be undone.
Lovely.
Thank you very much for that.
Nice.
Some of us get undone in all sorts of bizarre ways this time of year.
Yeah.
I do want to tell you before we rush off that next month, beginning the year, starting January right, we're going to discover the best ways in the world to get our head on straight, to get our mindset straight. One of the best in the business will join us. Dan Candell will be our guest in January, the second Tuesday of the month, same time, same place. And you'll want to get you'll want to kick your year off that way. Dan's a great guy.
All right. Well, then, ladies and gentlemen, we wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. And a Merry Kwanzaa and a Happy Hanukkah.
Go be a frog.
You're welcome
Thank
to open your
Michael
minds
and
and pray.
Karen.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Happy holidays. Thank you all for joining us, for making this holiday buffet a success as always. We love you.
Thank you
Happy
so
holidays,
much.
whatever you celebrate or don't celebrate.
Good night.
Sending
Thank you,
love.
Michael and Karen.
Thank
New
you,
year.
Karen. Thank you, Michael.
Let there be
Peace,
light.
everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
You all.
Night.
Bye.